Hello, my name is Dawn Hall, and I'm a faith community nurse for Friendship United Methodist Church in the Brown Summit community. And we've come together today to make a series of videos to help you get back into your community and into your church safely. The first video will be on hand washing. Then we will do a video on putting on and taking off your mask and maintaining it. And then we will talk about putting on and taking off gloves and disinfecting your church. In this video, we're going to talk about masks, putting them on, taking them off, and maintaining them. I want to start off with saying that I know that wearing a mask has become very controversial. So I want to give you a couple of examples of the success of wearing a mask in public to prevent the COVID-19 spread. The first example I want to give happened recently in Missouri. Two employees of a nail salon who came down with the COVID-19 virus. They had 400 clients that were on their contact tracing list. And since both parties wore masks, after 14 days and some COVID testing, no one has come up positive with the COVID-19 virus. My other example are the Asian regions of Singapore, Taiwan, and Hong Kong. These countries, I call them countries, some are just regions, were infected in 2003 with the SARS virus. This was a deadly upper respiratory virus, and at that time they learned that wearing a mask could save lives. So when COVID-19 began to cross into their border, they only shut their borders down, but they wore their mask. They continued on with their jobs and school, and they have had very low incidence of COVID. The other thing I'd like to do for you today is to give you a little science lesson, because sometimes I feel like if you know the why behind why you do something, you may be more compliant in wearing your mask or washing your hands or wearing gloves properly. The COVID-19 was called the novel coronavirus because it's a new virus. That means your body has never seen it. It has not built up antibodies to this virus. And so if you come in contact with it, you're going to catch it. The severity of that infection depends on if you're a high risk or a low risk. How do we get this virus? It's emitted through respiratory particles that enter the air when we talk, we breathe, cough, sneeze, or sing. Now some of these particles are large, especially when we sneeze or cough, and these large particles can fall 3 feet in front of us. Little smaller particles, we're going to call them medium particles, will fall about 6 feet to the ground. So that's why we are asked to social distance up to 6 feet. However, if some of these viral particles, and they are in the COVID-19 virus, are very tiny, they can suspend in the air and float, sometimes up to several hours. These smaller particles are not quite as infective as the big particles. However, the longer you're in a room, and the more people that are in the room, and the more breathing and talking that is going on, those aerosol droplets will begin to linger there, and you are more likely to breathe them in. Also, if an area has poor ventilation, say a car, an airplane, a small room, the longer you're in that room with poor ventilation, with other people that are possibly infected, the more likely you are to be infected by the COVID-19 virus. So that's why we wear a mask. The controversial part of it was that it came out in the news when this initially started and said you don't need a mask. Then they began to tell us we had to wear a mask, and that didn't make people very happy either. So the more studies that have been done, and I've given you examples of how they do work, tell us that when you wear a mask and you talk, cough, sneeze, you block those particles from going into the air and infecting someone else. That is the primary use of your mask. The secondary use of your mask, depending on the weave of the mask, the best being the N95, which our medical personnel wear, down to just our cloth mask we make at home, can help us anywhere from 50 to 90% in blocking the particles, just depending on the material that is used. So it's very hard to talk to you about different types of masks because many of you are making your own mask and you're making them from lots of different materials. So mainly what I'm going to do today is talk to you about how to take that mask on and off, how it should fit properly. I'm going to use this mannequin so that you can hear me talk because, as you know, often your voice is quite muffled when you put a mask on. There are several types of ways masks can attach. This is a beautifully made homemade mask. It is double and triple layered. Problem I found with this mask is it was a little large, so we'll talk about fit in a minute. But I'm taking it off of her so we can talk about applying the mask. The first thing you're going to do before you ever touch your mask is wash your hands. If your hands are contaminated and you touch your mask in any way, you may spread this up in your nose, mouth, or eyes. So wash your hands thoroughly. I would always handle my mask by its attachment. You do not want to touch the outside and especially not the inside. You're going to bring it around, make sure it comes over the nose. You do not pull it from down here up. It comes from up, over the nose. You're going to pull it over one ear, and then the other. And then to adjust the mask, oftentimes it lands up on top of the chin. You can touch the edge and pull it down. For any adjustment up here, I would use these ties and try not to touch the mask. The next type of mask, if you have an N95, or some of you may have things that you used at home like when you were painting or in a lot of dust, these masks come like this with the bottom and a top. So you're going to cup your mask, you're going to take the top strap, you're going to place the nose over the nose, and this is going to rest on top of your ears. Then you're going to get the bottom strap, pull it down a little bit, make it comfortable. And here you have your mask on. The most important part of this is getting the nose stays here, pressed onto your nose. You're going to start at the bottom, squeeze, come up to the top. This makes the mask nice and tight and helps reduce airflow from coming out, the sides, the top, and from letting stuff come in the mask. We'll go ahead and take the mask off properly. You're going to wash your hands again. You do not want to touch this mask with dirty hands. You're going to take it off the opposite way you put it on. You pull off this strap, then the top strap. And you see I did not touch the outside. These are easier to take on and off than the ones that go around the ears. I read that one thing you can do with your kids is take your mask and cover it with shaving cream after it's on your face and see if you can take it off and not get any shaving cream on your hands. It's not very easy not to contaminate. But what I say to you is don't panic if you accidentally touch it. So now we're ready to store our mask, and you can use a paper bag or a Ziploc bag, and I've found that these small Ziploc bags are a little difficult to keep from contaminating the mask, so I think the bigger ones work a little bit better. Now, depending on the type of mask you have, this one does not fold. You might, if you're going multiple places, to the store, and then to the drugstore, and you're taking your mask on and off, you might want to label your bag front and back so that this front side, the exterior side, touches the bag in the same place each time. Then just close it up and you carry it from place to place. Also, some of these masks look the same, the inside and the outside. So if that's the case, you don't want to mix up and put the mask on the wrong way. You'll want to also label your mask front and back. Once you have put your mask in this bag and you arrive home and you're done for the day, you're going to throw this bag away. And you're going to use a new one each time. Now, what about your mask? Most of these masks were made to be disposable, but we have such a shortage of masks now, even the hospitals are reusing them. They often have technology that can disinfect the mask, and we don't. So one rule of thumb is if the mask is visibly soiled or wet, you need to throw it away and get a new one. One nice thing about the homemade mask is you can wash those. Depending on the material, you may be able to machine wash it in some nice hot water, or you may need to hand wash it. I put mine outside in the sunshine and let it dry because ultraviolet light does kill germs, and I'm just trying to add in a little bit extra disinfection on my own. At the end of these videos, there will be resources for you if you have questions, and also how to make your own mask at home, what materials to use. And I wanted to show you this mask that is mine. There are several North Carolina companies that have come out with masks that have copper and silver inlay. Copper and silver help kill germs. These masks were about $30 in price. They're from TheraMask.com, and it's a North Carolina company, like I said, so you will be giving back to our economy. And you can wash these up to 30 times. They do not have the stay in the nose. I do find that it does stay up pretty well. I've been told they're coming out with new ones. There's another company that only charges $10 for their mask, and they also have the copper and silver inlay, and that resource will be at the end of the video. Now, for wearing your mask, I just want to show you what I see in public a lot. Please don't do this. Once you put your mask on and you have it secured in place, many of your homemade masks, I've found, do not stay on your face. So before you leave, and when you first make your mask, check it out. See if it moves. If it does, then you need to maybe tighten from around the ears or figure out how to put a stay over the nose. Doing this 15 times, I just see it all the time. It slides down here and you put it back up here. It's introducing dirty particles, germs, up your nose into your respiratory tract. I also see this a lot. This does you no good. This does you no good. Your nose is open to any of the droplets and particles. I also seen this. I'm not sure what this was about. And I see people wanting to not take their mask off and they wear it down here. If you want your mask clean and you've been in a public area that you think someone could have COVID and it's on your clothes or your dirty neck, you're going to infect yourself pulling it up and down. Take your mask off and put it in your bag and be careful with it. For those of you that were able to get an N95 mask, it has come to my attention that those need to be fitted properly, and if they're not, they're no better than a cloth mask. In hospitals, medical personnel are fitted for these masks, tightly across the nose, and done tests to make sure that air is not coming out around the mask. Some of you may have like the N95, like I said. Just go on YouTube and there are some sites on there that will show you how to fit your mask. I'm not saying that you will necessarily do it properly, but if you're going to wear your mask, it's best to look at these and try to make it fit as best as possible. So for a review, always wash your hands before you put your mask on and before you take it off. Make sure that you do not touch your face with your mask on with dirty hands. You can push those particles through the mask. So at the end of this video, there will be resources, again, for masks, how to make them, how to wear them. You'll also have my email at the end of this video. If you have any questions, you can contact me. And thank you so much for listening to this video today, and I hope you learned something.